Many people with AP lack self-confidence and self-esteem, so they worry about actually what everyone else thinks of them rather than actually what are the benefits to themselves, and that has a huge impact on them joining in sport. And then the lack of role models. So within your own countries, do you have sporting role models that are disabled? Are they well known? And it's just a way to break those down. And actually with actually me, I'm the only disabled person in actually my school, so I had no one to compare myself to, so I just tried everything. That's fine. Okay, so looking at coaching considerations when coaching somebody with cerebral palsy. So you always have to ask questions, because everyone is different, so you have to ask all of those questions, and don't be afraid to ask what you might perceive as silly questions, because actually they aren't. Okay, so things to consider: temperature and climate might impact on and on the person's symptoms. Most EPs like heat. I don't. I like the cold, so my body works better in the cold. No, that's not very common. Athletes might have a startle reflex. So if somebody makes actually me jump, I do that straight away. I might jump out of my skin. No, even if I actually know someone's going to walk through at the door, and they walk in, I still jump. Okay, it's just actually part of me. Some have epilepsy, some have very flexibility, stiffness and movement restrictions. We're all completely different.
So you actually really need to find out what they can and they can't do. Every athlete is completely different. Their balance and their coordination might actually be affected, so you actually might get someone that can hop on one leg really well but then can't hop on their other leg, and you might have an athlete that can hop at the both standards on actually both of their legs. They actually might have some type of learning impairment or hearing or vision loss. Just ask actually them. Try and ask the athlete what they can and can't actually do. If they come actually with a parent or a guardian, ask them so you have a full picture of the athlete. Memory and understanding and instructions. Some athletes really struggle with long sentences, long words, huge amounts of information at one time. I always use simple words, simple instructions. Ask them if they understand and ask them questions. Ask them to repeat things, and then fatigue. Most cerebral palsy athletes use 3 times as much energy to do a simple task than an able-bodied athlete. So you really have to factor that in when you are delivering your sessions or planning your sessions. You might end up with a cerebral palsy athlete doing half of what and the rest of the group actually does. Next, in terms of coaching considerations, we are going to look at communication. So by standard, every session that I coach at, I always have a whiteboard and I always have my cue cards. I have pictures and words of everything that actually we're going to do in that session. Some athletes will have issues with their communication. They might struggle to ask questions, or they might struggle to understand what you are actually asking them. So having a whiteboard or your cue cards is absolutely imperative, and it makes sure that your session is inclusive. Some athletes might have assistive technology that will help them generate speech, or will help them communicate actually with you. You might have to use Makatan, or you might have to use some sign language. It's always great to have some of that basic knowledge. Ensure you and the athlete make eye contact. This will help with their concentration and feeling part of the group, but it will also help you make sure they understand. If they are looking elsewhere or they have lost interest, they aren't going to know what they are actually meant to be doing. Talk to the athlete rather than the parent or person that has come actually with the athlete. This is really important because the athlete will then feel part of the group. It's, if they have questions, they will be more prone to ask you if you ask them first. Always try and use visual demonstrations so if you're wanting them to hop or jump in a certain way, demonstrate it. Most athletes learn by demonstration. It is the best way to do it. And then finally, ask the athlete straightforward questions. This will help you make sure they understand what you are asking them to actually do. Okay. Finally, coaching is